We came out here to decompress after 3 days of a lot of people at the Overland Expo Pacific Northwest.
It was hot, but a lot of fun, but definitely hot.
So we came down this dirt road and we were like, oh, there's gonna be a cool campsite just right over there. And all of a sudden, our map says it goes through, but it had other plans.
That or else the road was supposed to go here and it completely washed out. That does look like a really nice campsite across the way. Too bad we can't get to it. We mostly go to this Overland Expo for the educational classes. They give us a lot of info that we need. But this time around, there were quite a few unexpected purchases. You have found Explore Trek Adventure with Kelly and Greg. We cover everything camping, from backpacking to adventure vans.
Before we go over all the cool stuff that we actually picked up, and I think we actually did find some really cool stuff, let's talk about
vendors. And there are a ton of them. You definitely need a map. I think that you'll spend a lot of time going through them all.
Yeah, and you need at least a good day just to spend walking around to the vendors.
But surprisingly, there were vendors that we thought would be there but weren't, like Alvans, Geyser, Onyx Off-Road.
And they were both there last year, which is kind of, and I actually had a bunch of questions all lined up for the Onyx people, and they weren't even there. So that was kind of a bummer.
But Agile Off-Road was there.
Yeah, and they actually had a pretty big presence there. And of course, they were trying to sell me a locker for immediately.
And of course, we found some new vendors where we purchased some stuff that.
Yeah, but what we need to point out is there were a few interactions that I think were interesting. We have the fire can, you know, the little black box, the little propane box. Well, they came out with a couple new versions, and those new versions are pretty neat because there's like an insert that goes in there and you can cook with that. Well, so we went to the booth and I'm like, hey, you have your product line. We have this one. Can we get this insert to basically put in ours? And her answer was, no, we're going to make you buy a new one. Not just no, but it was very specific. We will make you buy a new one, which I thought that
was a little surprising, yeah.
In case you're born under a rock, there's Matt's Off-Road Recovery on YouTube. Well, they were there, and it was actually pretty cool. Right, like literally when we were driving into camp, I think Blue Steel is what they call it, and then the wrecker, it's so huge, was sitting literally in the parking lot. And then inside, they probably had, I don't know, what would you say? Like 3 sizes booths of a normal, normal booth is like, 10 by 10, and they had huge, like 40 by whatever.
Yeah, lots of people there.
Yeah, the more there was there, which you could actually go see the inside. And just so you know, like the inside of that thing is like super cramped. I was a little bit surprised. I mean, the tires are gigantic, but
yes, Craig was excited to see that.
Yeah, and then all of the crew, Matt was there, like everybody was there. It was actually kind of cool. We ended up doing a 3-day camping where you basically camp on site and then you have full access into the expo. Highly recommend that because you can come and go. Like you had lots of people, you can go hide out in your camper.
We went back to the van to get lunch, and then go back inside.
Yeah. But there's one big thing you need to know is like, it's not camping that you would think of like this.
Campground or this, yeah.
It's camping literally, you're next to each other, but it's actually kind of neat because
you get to meet.
We just met a ton of people, and like every different kind of rig there. There's tents there, there's people camping in their cars.
Rooftop
tents. There's
like
a gazillion rooftop tents.
Vans, storytellers, those gigantic ones.
Yeah, there were a handful of the expedition rigs. They're just monsters. Then there's a specific motorcycle area. They actually had a specific Subaru area this time. Yeah. And that was actually inside of the event.
Yeah. Just be aware that it's can be noisy. It can definitely be noisy.
Don't expect it to be quiet. Well, I think the best part besides going inside the vendors is after it's over at 5 is just walking, just grabbing some beers and then just go walking.
Checking out everybody's rigs. Everybody's open and letting you see what their setup is. And
yeah, they're actually really excited to be able to show you.
Yeah.
Like we parked right next to a guy with I think it was a Chevy Express.
It's a big van.
It was pretty thick because he had these monster tires on it, but then he had like super, super nice paint job of like the textured, like the Rhino liner stuff, but
it was like sparkly.
It had like just a little bit of metal flake in it, and it was a little glossy. It was pretty awesome.
Super cool.
Yeah, and then he had a sea kayak on top. Yeah, so cool.
So we met a lot of different people and from all over.
We were way out of our introverted selves, and we purposely parked in the middle just so we could make sure and meet everybody.
Yeah. But then we also met a really cool couple from Wisconsin. They were there doing road tripping with their granddaughter, and super nice people. Showed us all their rigs. And,
they had a fantastic van.
Yeah.
He had some upgraded seats in where he takes his grandkids out.
Yeah.
He had
really
a very
cool
nice van.
Yeah. And of course, we got to meet some new friends that are building their van, and that was really a great experience. And
yeah, they have a very nice van. Hopefully, maybe they'll let us do a tour of their van once it's built.
We ended up handing out a bunch of our stickers. Brian and Alicia, we looked for you. Sorry we couldn't find you. Go check out their new YouTube channel. They have a Tiffin-built van. I think the highlight for us is actually the education and training portions of the expo. We went to a bunch of them, but the ones that really stood out were the ones on Australia, Iceland, and of course the number one was the medical preparedness. We are definitely buying 2 tourniquets. When you're out in the backwoods, you do not want to bleed out.
Even though we only stopped here for a second, this creek is actually really cool. Maybe this is a secondary place to come camp sometime. Let's go and show you some of the cool stuff that we got. This is all the loot that we scored that we actually are able to get from the show. We got 2 other things. We went to a bunch of lighting vendors. Diode Dynamic, looked at their SS5 lights. We want to put 2 lights on the front. Looked at those, and also the laser Sentinel Elites. Those are actually kind of nice. Doing some further research, we ended up going with the Baja designs. Well, Baja was there and they provided 20% off. So it was kind of a no-brainer. We didn't really want to buy lights now, but at 20% off, it saves us a couple $100. Hopefully those will show up in a week or 2. We'll get to check those out. We also did grab some new carbon steel pans. They're a little bit thicker than everything we have. They're totally handleless, and there's 2 of them. Those are pretty cool. I think we'll have definitely compare that to the OXO carbon steel pans we're using today.
One of our destinations that we definitely want to go to is Baja, and we went to one of the talks on borders and checkpoints, and she was actually selling some maps at a reduced rate. This is the benchmark map. It's got some really nice maps in here. This is hopefully in our future.
And they say that the benchmark maps are kind of the gold standard for maps for Baja. We'll take their word for it.
This one doesn't even need an explanation. It is a cup holder with a magnet in it. They already had the blue one made up, and Greg was like, oh, I wish they had orange. And they actually sewed it on the spot for us so he could have an orange one.
So not only do you have a koozie, but you have a koozie you can stick to things. Bonus is you can stick them together for transit, and they just kind of stay all together. Yeah. These are one of my favorite purchases.
And the cheapest.
This is a sidewall repair kit by Gluetread, and the funny thing is you walk by their booth, they had this tire on a stand. It had like a knife, a fork, scissors just jammed into the sidewall of the tires. And what this kit does is that there's a couple pieces of rubber in there. They have some special compound, basically some kind of magic super glue. He said you apply it, wait 3 to 5 seconds, stick that patch onto your sidewall, wait another 5 to 10 seconds, and then it's ready for full PSI, which boggles my mind. They're from Bozeman. They had a flat. They patched it. Normally you would just basically get back to town so you could replace the tire. He's like, well, yeah, but we actually have 10,000 miles on this tire that has this patch on it. The process seems really easy, and I think it's a no-brainer. If you're airing down and rip a nice hole in your sidewall, this could be an easy fix. These are the Infinity Tool gear straps. We actually meant to pick some of these up last year. They didn't have orange, so I couldn't get myself to buy those. So these are basically straps that you can put on anything. This silicone material, you can see how stretchy it is. And they have a couple different clasp mechanisms, but you'll loop it through here, cinch it down as tight as you want, and then push it through the hole. So they're really simple to use. Not only that, you can hook multiple together if you needed to create a super long one. There's just a lot of different options, and I just like this really stretchy material. I'm actually going to use this one for our air up hose, and partially because I've got a clamp on it right now, and it's a little big and it gets kind of stuck. So this is the cable stuff. I recommend these as well, but in this spot I don't, because it gets stuck. And they come in all different colors and all different sizes. This is kind of their standard basic pack. The guys at the booth there were super nice. It's always helpful when the people working at the booth are super nice. So you do a double wrap. So now we can put this inside that hole and it shouldn't catch.
And lastly, we got these headrest covers. They actually fit right over the headrest and then have pockets on it. The biggest pocket, funny enough, is bright orange inside, so you're not gonna really lose anything in there. We've got another pocket right here, hooks areas. It also has Velcro on it. But on the bottom, it has these elasticy, sections, I don't know what they're called, but our bear can spray is gonna be held right there. So it's gonna be easy to access right on our headrest. We ended up getting two. This is the headrest side, and on the top, there's another pocket up on there. So this is gonna give us an extra storage, especially for the small little bits that we need to find easily.
Well, let me show you the one. We just have one of the paddle, well, the passenger one installed. You can see the headrest there. Doesn't stick out too much. And they have this little pocket up there. We go inside and I'll show you how it looks there and what the bear spray looks like. There we go. So we have our bear spray in there, so it's easily reached from the outside. Kelly can grab it and pull it out. Yeah, I think it just adds a nice little storage space that there's just no other product that I've seen that does it. And then we'll have the other one here. One other thing we want to mention is they do have different sizes, so make sure you order the specific one for your car, but they have straps on the side to help cinch down this when you get it installed, one on each side. But then they also have a nice one on the bottom. So once it's on your headrest, it's not going to go anywhere. And that's what I originally was a little bit worried about, because sometimes with Velcro, these stretchy bits, it'll end up working its way and pop off, but that's not going to happen with this. And now we're gonna see if we can get that thing turned around right there and make it down there. There's some sketchy things down there, but we'll do it. So if you do happen to see us out in the wild, make sure and say hi, because we actually had a lot of fun meeting a lot of new people.
Yes, definitely. You can go watch this video next. You can find us at exploretrekadventure.com, and we'll see you next time.